Episode 11, Ram lifts the bow of Shiv and the marriage of Ram and Sita. Welcome to the Ramayan, stories of Dharm and Devotion. I'm Sandeep, and in this podcast, we'll journey together through the timeless epic of Valmiki's Ramayan, filled with stories of honor, sacrifice, devotion, and righteousness. Although it's rooted in Indian culture, the Ramayan offers universal lessons that resonate globally. The epic addresses themes such as the triumph of good over evil, loyalty, the struggles of the righteous, family duties, and the power of compassion. These values transcend cultural and religious boundaries, making the Ramayan relevant to everyone globally. Today, we continue our journey through Balakanda with a truly divine moment. The moment Ram lifts the bow of Lord Shiv, known as the Pinaka, and the subsequent marriage of Ram and Sita. This episode marks the culmination of events that fulfill the promise of fate, bringing together two souls destined to be partners in the journey of life. Let us dive into this extraordinary chapter where strength of character, divine grace, and the will of the gods all converge.
At this crucial moment in the Swayamvar, all eyes turned to Sage Vishwamitra, who had been watching the proceedings in silence. Vishwamitra, with a calm smile, turned to Ram, who stood beside him. "O Ram," he said, "the time has come for you to step forward. You are destined for this challenge, and the gods have chosen you. Show the world your strength and fulfill your purpose." Ram, ever humble and obedient, bowed to his guru Vishwamitra. He stepped forward, his presence commanding the attention of everyone in the court. As he approached the pedestal, the crowd watched in awe. Who was this young prince, stepping forward when so many had failed? Lakshman watched his brother with pride, knowing that this was the moment that would define Ram's destiny. Ram reached the pedestal where the divine bow lay. He paused for a moment, bowing his head in respect before the bow, acknowledging its divinity and its connection to Lord Shiv. Ram's heart was filled with devotion and a sense of purpose. He knew that lifting this bow was not about proving his physical strength, it was about fulfilling the will of the gods and upholding Dharm. With great reverence, Ram placed his hands on the bow. The entire court held its breath as they watched this young prince, who seemed so calm and composed. Slowly, with effortless grace, Ram began to lift the bow. To everyone's astonishment, the bow, which had remained immovable for so long, rose in Ram's hands as if it weighed nothing at all. A collective gasp filled the court as they witnessed this incredible feat. Ram held the bow high, and it seemed as if the divine energy of the bow recognized him. The power that had made the bow so formidable seemed to resonate with Ram, and he stood there, holding the bow of Lord Shiv, embodying both strength and grace. With steady hands, Ram began to string the bow, pulling it with ease. The court watched in silence, their eyes wide with amazement. As Ram pulled the string, the bow suddenly snapped with a thunderous sound, echoing throughout the court and beyond. The ground seemed to shake, and the sound reverberated across Mithila, signaling that something extraordinary had just taken place. The snap of the bow was not a sign of failure, it was a divine proclamation. It was as if the bow itself had acknowledged Ram as the chosen one, and the gods had approved of this union. The entire court erupted in applause and cheers, the air filled with joy and celebration. The people of Mithila knew that they had just witnessed a moment of divine intervention, a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. King Janak, overwhelmed with emotion, rose from his throne. He stepped forward, his eyes filled with tears of joy. He looked at Ram, who stood there, calm and humble, holding the broken bow. Janak spoke, his voice filled with reverence. "O noble prince, you have accomplished what no one else could. You have lifted the bow of Lord Shiv and proven yourself worthy of my daughter, Sita. Today, the gods have blessed us, and I am honored to offer Sita's hand in marriage to you." The people gathered in the court cheered, their voices filled with joy. Flowers were showered upon Ram, and the atmosphere was filled with a sense of divine grace. Lakshman, standing nearby, looked at his brother with pride and admiration. He knew that this was just the beginning of Ram's journey, a journey that would lead him to fulfill his destiny as the protector of righteousness. The preparations for the wedding began immediately. King Janak sent messengers to Ayodhya to inform King Dashrath of the joyous news and to invite him to Mithila for the grand wedding. King Dashrath, upon hearing the news, was overjoyed. He gathered his family and set out for Mithila, eager to witness the union of his beloved son with Princess Sita. When Dashrath and his entourage arrived in Mithila, they were received with great honor and warmth. The people of Mithila welcomed the royal family of Ayodhya with open hearts, and there was an atmosphere of celebration throughout the city. Dashrath was filled with pride and joy as he embraced his sons, Ram and Lakshman, and expressed his happiness at the upcoming wedding. The day of the wedding arrived, and Mithila was adorned like never before. The streets were decorated with colorful garlands, and lamps lit up every corner of the city. The air was filled with the fragrance of flowers, and the sounds of music and celebration echoed through the city. People from all walks of life gathered to witness the grand event, and there was a sense of divine joy that pervaded the atmosphere. In the royal court, a grand mandap was set up for the wedding ceremony. Ram, dressed in splendid attire, stood with Lakshman by his side. King Dashrath, along with his other sons, Bharat and Shatrughan, stood proudly, their faces beaming with happiness. King Janak, along with Queen Sunana, brought Sita to the mandap, her face glowing with grace and beauty. The wedding rituals began with the chanting of sacred mantras by the priests. The fire in the center of the mandap burned brightly, symbolizing the divine witness to this holy union. Ram and Sita exchanged garlands, and as they did so, the crowd erupted in cheers. It was a moment of pure joy, a union blessed by the gods and witnessed by all. As Ram and Sita took the sacred vows, walking around the holy fire, they pledged to support each other in all aspects of life, to share in both joy and sorrow, to uphold dharm, and to remain devoted to each other. Their union was not just a marriage, it was a coming together of two souls destined to fulfill a divine purpose. The vows they took were a testament to their commitment to each other and to the path of righteousness. The celebrations did not end there. King Janak, filled with joy and gratitude, decided that this auspicious occasion should also see the union of his other daughters with the princes of Ayodhya. Thus, Lakshman was married to Urmila, Sita's beloved sister, while Bharat was married to Manvi and Shatrughan to Shrutkirti, both daughters of Janak's brother Kushadhwaj. The weddings were conducted with the same grandeur and joy, and the entire city of Mithila rejoiced at the union of the two royal families. The wedding of Ram and Sita, along with the marriages of Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughan, was a celebration of love, devotion, and the fulfillment of destiny. It was a moment that marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, a chapter that would be filled with challenges, sacrifices, and the upholding of dharm. The people of Mithila and Ayodhya rejoiced, knowing that their beloved princesses were in the hands of noble and righteous princes. King Dashrath, overwhelmed with joy, expressed his heartfelt gratitude to King Janak for his hospitality and the honor of this alliance. The bonds between the two kingdoms were further strengthened, and there was a sense of unity and harmony that filled the air.
In our next episode, we will witness the arrival of Parshuram, the great sage and warrior, and his encounter with Ram. This meeting will test Ram's humility and strength in an unexpected way, revealing yet another layer of his divine character. Join us as we explore this thrilling and significant encounter. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please share the podcast with friends and family so that we can spread the glorious life of Ram and how dharm guides us at all phases of our life. While we may not know exactly what happened, this eternal story of the Ramayana serves as a guide for how we conduct ourselves in our day-to-day lives. We have tried to create a story as close as possible to the ancient texts, scriptures, and writings of Valmiki's Ramayan. Until then, may the light of Dharm guide your path.